I wonder what we'll find out there this time.
Most likely Zeugles, I would reckon.
I mean, other than them.
Mahag Saar. That makes 4 out of the 5 realms that I've visited now.
I wonder what kind of lord we're gonna find there.
It doesn't matter. If they try to get in our way, we'll take them down and that'll be that.
Go no further!
Eat this! Ready to go! That's it! Tiger Blade! First!
Anything in armor is all mine!
I'll take out the legs with my shield.
There you go! I feel like me again. Huh? Fang Bolero!
I'll stop it, Charge!
You hear it,
Kisara!
Eat this! Pierce through!
Together, that wasn't even a problem.
Do my best!
I'm on! Grant me the strength to march on!
I'm really far enough!
Lion Talon Hurricane!
I'll go!
Watch this!
Tiger
Shield!
Blade!
This one's got your name on it!
Ashes to ashes! Grant me the strength to march
This
on!
one's mine!
Swallow dick! Watch this!
Thunder Field!
This one keeps charging us!
That's what my shield's for.
Sleep now.
Get behind me!
Got it!
Let's get you off
Leave it
that
to
way.
you!
Elusive deity!
Going in!
Lightning
Swallow
orb!
dick!
Whoa! Hey, now!
Shield!
Listen! This one's got your name on it!
Ashes to ashes!
These guys picked the wrong fight.
No complaints here. The more the merrier.
Just don't go getting any rash ideas.
Hoo! Hoo, hoo, hoo. Hoo, 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 hoo. Hoo, hoo, hoo. Hoo. Maybe something's going on in the forest. Little help!
Eat this! Take this! Swallow dick! In a bind? What a relief! Talon Storm! I'll finish you here and now! That's enough! Lion Heart! What a relief!
Time to shine!
Swallow
Charge
dare!
like that could easily be fatal.
Just as well, I'm here to stop.
Talon Storm!
Get behind me!
Tempest Whirl!
Talon
Celestial
Hurricane!
Hammer!
Deathlight Rupture!
Tunnel!
That's enough!
Look sharp!
Fang Bolero!
Down on the ground!
Rotating Pile Driver! Didn't even break a sweat.
A fish! You saw it too, right?
I didn't realize there was a pond here.
Yeah, this is Taka Pond. And it happened to have saved my life once upon a time.
What do you mean?
As a kid, I survived life under the past lords by escaping here when I needed to. It's terrible to swim in, but great for catching a bite for dinner away from Renin eyes.
Bear in mind, our rations back then weren't enough to live off of. You had to take matters into your own hands if you wanted enough food to survive.
But how did you catch them? With your bare hands?
That might take a while. Fish are prone to swim away at the first sign of trouble.
I'd put bait or a lure on a line and use it with a fishing rod.
You must not be familiar with fishing if this sounds new to you. Here, let me show you how it's done. Now where might those fish be? Hup! Not my lucky day, I guess. Yeah! Nothing's biting. There we go. We can get a good meal out of this fella.
That flapper was a true fighter.
There we go. Well, it's not bad, per se.
You take your fishing pretty seriously.
I've got something. Anybody could reel in that.
Guess it's important to stay calm.
Yeah! All right, once more from the top. Time to try a different spot. Reel it in. You've got to know when to quit. All right. You've got to know when to quit. And that's all there is to it.
Wow. It seems like you need to have good reflexes to catch anything. I don't know if it's really for me. Kisara? I think I've seen enough.
Oh, sorry. I guess I'm just in my own little world when I go fishing.
Looks like we're going to be here for a while.
That's how fishing goes. You wait for a bite, and then the real battle begins. Miguel told me that different fish live in different regions, and you have to pick the right rod and lure for what you're hoping to catch.
But that doesn't change the fact it's a giant time sink.
Of course, each fish has its own unique flavor, too. And some of them are supposed to be extremely delicious.
When you put it like that, maybe it's worth me trying my hand at fishing after all.
You're just in it for the food.
I was hoping we'd get to fish during our travels. And it just so happens I made sure to grab my brother's old rod before I left Vicente. So, if you ever feel like fishing when we've got a little downtime, just let me know.
Good to hear. Thanks for showing us. Okay!
I'm always amazed what healing arts can do.
Just doing my job. No need to thank me. I hate camping.
Hey. Is it just me, or have those two barely spoken a single word to one another?
I know, right? But after everything that happened with Miguel, is it really any wonder?
Kinda puts a damper on the whole journey, though, huh? How long do you think they're gonna keep this up?
If it bothers you that much, why don't you ask them?
Why do I have to ask?
How come you walk together like that?
She really doesn't beat around the bush.
You mean Kisara and myself?
You hadn't noticed? You've been practically joined at the hip ever since we left Vicente.
I guess it's force of habit, most likely. I was always ready to protect him, should the need arise. It sort of came with the job description.
Right. From being in the Elder Menancia Guard. Although, Dohalim's pretty capable of defending himself, isn't he?
Having guards doesn't necessarily mean the one being guarded is weak. No one's perfect all the time.
Even so, it's not like they're entirely wrong, Kisara. You're no longer in my employ, after all.
I don't know. I mean, if it's what she's used to and you're both comfortable with it, then who are we to judge?
But she doesn't serve him anymore. It isn't normal for her to keep following him around like she still does.
You know, she's probably right. And a lot has changed over the last few days. I guess it wouldn't hurt to rethink our relationship in light of the new circumstances. Perhaps I'll give it some thought after all. Does that sound all right by you?
Of course.
You might want to stop asking his permission for every little thing while you're at it.
Sorry. It's not that easy, shaking off old habits. I'll probably need a little time to get fully used to it. I've noticed that sometimes we come across enemies who fight like you, and try to dodge our attacks at the last second.
I hate those guys. I can get some hits in when they move into attack, but otherwise they slip past damn near everything else I throw at them.
If what you're seeking is a way to more reliably hit them, there is a solution.
Try to outclass them on reflexes?
I possess the ability to command Earth elemental beings to some extent. They emerge as the land itself and take root on my command. They will swiftly bind the enemies, at which point you can dispatch them.
Huh?
What he means is that he can make plants grow to hold the enemies in place. At least I think that's probably what he's saying.
I'm glad at least one of us understands him. So basically, if we find an enemy that likes to dodge, we should let Dohalim handle it.
I shall do what I can within my modest means to help.
Dohalim's fighting style is... what's the word I'm looking for? Subdued? No...
Do you mean elegant, perhaps?
Yeah, that's the word. For better or worse, you can definitely tell he's cut from posh rending cloth.
And he's not just skilled with the staff either. He can also use astral arts, including healing ones. I can see how he made it to the position of a lord.
You flatter me, but my fighting techniques merely come from a style that aims to conserve energy by minimizing body movement.
Is that why you wait until the last second before you dodge attacks? To avoid unnecessary movements?
No, I do that to sharpen my senses. I find that doing so is an effective means of drawing out my innermost strength.
Oh yeah, I've noticed you look stronger and strike out with your rod more after you dodge attacks. Guess that's why.
Still, it's a risk. Don't you ever worry you'll dodge at the wrong moment?
Then, it'll be just as well.
Huh?
It's nothing. Let us continue.
Why are you looking at me like that?
That armor you wear is standard issue for the Menancian Guard, right?
Originally, I've added some flair to it in a lot of places.
I noticed, especially with that open back.
We guardsmen pride ourselves on never showing our back to our enemies. It's my way of making myself live up to that. Plus, it makes it that much lighter and easier to maintain.
Dohalim, do you have anything to say about this?
Every guardsman is allowed to wear their armor as they see fit.
And you, La?
Huh? Why are you asking me?
This looks perfect.
Dohalim, care if I hang out for a while? You worried about what's going on with Menancia?
What makes you think that?
Well, you were speaking to Kisara earlier, weren't you?
It's rude to listen in on others, you know.
Sorry. I didn't hear what you two were actually talking about, though. I just figured it was Menancia since it was the two of you.
I am but a former lord who has abandoned his post. I'm no longer in a position to lead the realm in any capacity whatsoever. Yet Kisara still seeks out my opinions, knowing full well that is the case. This despite the fact I am no longer her master either.
Couldn't it be precisely because you're not her master anymore? It's natural for friends to want to hear each other's opinions.
I hadn't considered that possibility.
It's funny what you miss sometimes.
Hardly uncommon among artistic types such as myself. When lordships are decided based solely on one's astral energy, it can lead to funny results.
But even so, you still took your job as Lord seriously, didn't you?
Certainly. I learned to perform my functions. However, I was less interested in ruling, so much as avoiding life and death decisions. Of course, such a mentality in the end led only to sickening pain and death taking place elsewhere out of sight. I pretended not to see or hear any of it, content to let our supposed peace and equality keep me blind and deaf to reality. I was a fool.
But you're making amends.
I would like to think so. The path ahead is dark, yet I still walk on. I merely pray that I shan't fall down any holes along the way. We'd best get ready for tomorrow. Shall we get moving? Something feels odd here. Be on your guard.
I just noticed none of you other Danans have spirit cores. Why is that?
Both of my parents were part of the resistance in Calaglia. In fact, my birth was kept a secret from the Renans.
Mine too. We always lived in hiding, so I never had a spirit core embedded in me like I was supposed to.
What about you, Alphen? You were a slave in Calaglia before all this, weren't you?
To be completely honest, I'm not sure why I don't have one. All the other Danan slaves around me did. I was the only exception. They tended to keep their distance from me to avoid attracting any attention from the soldiers, because of my mask and all. What about you, Kisara? Do you still have your spirit core?
No. I was able to find a good Renan doctor who's sympathetic to our kind, and had them remove it before I left. They did such a great job, the procedure didn't even leave a scar.
One of the benefits of coexistence, huh?
I know that once the spirit vessel was shut down, there wasn't much need for me to hurry. But still, I didn't like having that mark of servitude lingering on me any longer than I had to. It may sound a little strange to hear me say this, but I'm just me now. Not a guardsman or a slave. I'm my own woman. And this is my chance to have a new beginning.
This sure is one rugged road. You'd think they'd keep this at least a little better maintained, right?
Why spend energy fixing that which is rarely used? Repairs require time and effort, which in our world means slaves, often in great numbers. For you, it may be a simple request, but that can quickly become another's difficult burden. Nobody gains anything without someone expending effort.
And you know, somehow that someone always ends up being a Danan, while the Renans are the ones who gain.
True enough. Ideally, in a perfect world, I think it's only fair that the ones who need it should be the ones to perform the work.
However, when doing so could be dangerous like it is here, there are many who would prefer that it be others who risk their lives in their stead.
So, what you're saying is that people will just put up with the inconvenience until someone else comes along to fix it for them?
Indeed. And it is those who can no longer bear that feeling that inevitably take action. Much like the Danans in our group do so now. As strange as it may be to hear such a thing from the likes of myself.
It's true that most of the Danans in Calaglia have been resigned to just accepting things as they are. Still, we can't just blame them for...
What are you making that face for? You're not worn out already, are you?
Nah, just regretting I ever said anything in the first place. got fires!
I've got this! Let a marksman handle it!
All yours! I'm on it! You see what happened there as you crossed me. Shouldn't have done that. Talent Storm! I'll crush you! Lightning Reflexes! Tenebrous Claw! I'm even stronger than before.
All right.
There's nowhere to run from my art. When he slows down, that's our chance. Eat this! Take this!
Keep up with the wall!
On guard! Here you go! Talent Storm!
Throbs and pains.
Can't get out of this! Look sharp! Now I'm in the groove! Grant me the strength to march on! That's enough! Prepare to be seen! Take this! I'm on it! Talent Storm! Now I'm in the groove! Glimmer Dragon! Lionheart!
Too shy to come over?
In a vine!
Raging Cascade!
I'm
In
on it!
here.
Piercing Roar! Storm!
Get on there
Grant
with
me
the
the
others.
strength!
Allow me to...
Alright, it's showtime!
Piercing Roar! Grant me the strength to march on! Lionheart!
Prepare to be sealed of lethal force. Actually, perhaps bound is more appropriate.
Take this!
I'll be
Guard
braving
strike.
this one!
Talent Storm! Discharge! Grant me the strength to march on! Hurricane! Lionheart! Watch this! Shouldn't have messed with me!
Heart Malevolence!
I'm on it! Grant me the strength to march on! Lionheart! Hurricane! Death! I'm just getting started! I'll crush you! Lightning Reflexes! Tenebrous Claw! Grant me the strength to march on! Stand no further! Tiger Blade!
Got some interesting moves there, Dohalim. I'm glad you're on our side.
I'm simply glad to hear that I can make myself useful to you all. Huh?
What's wrong?
We seem to have come across some rather unusual objects.
What, you mean that pile of garbage?
No mere garbage, I assure you. Still, I've never seen anything shaped like it before. I'm intrigued.
Are you curious about this stuff, Rinwell?
Yeah. I think he might have found some old Danon relics. They look like the remains of a bunch of objects that disappeared after the Renans first invaded.
And yet here I am, holding them without so much as a second thought. I imagine the sight must be unsettling to you.
Not really, just that it must be nice to be a Renan who has time to indulge in stuff like that, unlike the rest of us.
Are you interested in this stuff too, Dohalim?
Charmed may be a better turn of phrase. I simply love objects that can give me a sense of what their maker was thinking, the history that went into their creation. You see, we Renans have hardly any such objects that trace back to our distant past.
I still don't understand what you two find so intriguing about it, though.
Why not? We're talking about our own culture here.
I get that, but it's not like this stuff is any use now, does it? It's just old. Real old.
Oh, but it does. Holding it in your hands like this, one can feel and engage with the distant past in a way no history book can ever accomplish.
I'll take your word for it. Well, seeing as it's Danon history, just make sure you're careful with it. All right, Dohalim?
But of course.
Oh my goodness, finally. Finally! 6 additional. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, finally. This is monumental because you get to work with like 3 moves on the ground, 3 moves mid-air. It kind of like stifles some of your stuff. So even if I wanted to put something on, I couldn't, because say if I wanted to do a combo and I use basically all 6 buttons, which I completely do for Law. I'm like, he has like 5 other abilities I could easily add in, but I can't because I would legit have to go to a menu, press the button. It just cuts the entire fluidity of everything. So now the fact that I'm like, I could add 6. Oh my goodness, 6 additional came in. Like I have another set. So finally, because like even in other Tales games, there's always more than 3 that you can slap on. So this is like the only one where it seems restricting, and you're like, what is this? But now I'm like, oh man. This just got a lot better. L2 would be the trigger for it. Huh. Okay. That's going to take some time to make this too.
I sense a strange power from this.
I know fine weapon material when I see it.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
Visibility along this path will remain limited for some time. Take care not to get ambushed.
I'm surprised you know the terrain here so well. Lords don't strike me as having much time for wandering in the woods.
Sometimes I would take strolls along here when I wished to be alone.
You always did have a bad habit of disappearing without telling any of us guardsmen. I feel sprightlier than before.
Around here. I can feel my feet getting blisters.
That's mountain hiking for you. It can be pretty tough if you're not used to these sorts of trails.
I take it you're comfortable with them then?
Oh yeah. We used to run up and down these slopes all the—
Stay calm. I shall provide assistance. Come and get it! I really owe you one.
Not my watch!
On guard! Swallow there! Now in the groove! Eat this!
That's my cue!
Shut him down! Now you see what I can do! There you go!
One more time!
You're like me again! Eagle assault! Shield and another one down!
here!
Talon Storm!
Going in!
Grant me the strength to march on! Lionheart!
Tidal Wave!
Swallow Dance! Glimmer Dragon! Thunder Touch!
Here goes Lightning Descent! Thunder
Swallow
Wave!
Dance! I'm on it with you!
Going in.
Stalagmite! Super Swallow Dance! Lion Howl! These fists have got your name on them!
Igneous Discharge!
Raising Flame! Elusive
My exploits are bearing fruit.
I'll do my best!
I'm like bait to them! What a relief!
Not in your dreams!
Going in!
Swallow Dance! I'm just getting started! Jet Blossom! Shattering the pieces! Attack us! I'm ready! Demon's Descent! Flashing Fang!
Easy! Way to go!
Talon Storm!
Celestial Hammer!
Raising Flame! Swallow Dance! Elusive Deity! Death Blossom! Dating Pile Driver! Talon Storm! On guard! Seismic Rupture! Death Blossom! I'm ready! Demon's Descent! Flashing Fang!
Yeah, I look pretty flashy out there.
So glad it met with your approval. Here goes!
I shall ensure you survive this.
Begin!
Leave the agile ones to me.
I really Rip and tear!
Not in your dreams!
You made me angry. That was a bad idea.
I'm on it! I'm on a roll now!
Radiant light! Force of regeneration! The enemy gives our
I'll stop your movement.
And I'll stop your life! And done!
Let's keep them. I'll take you all on. Ha! Flare the Malisa!
Grant me the strength to march on!
Lionheart! Raising Flame!
The tide of battle has turned in our favor.
Then let's keep pressing the attack.
Indeed, but remain ever vigilant.
You're wide open!
Igneous
Swallow
Discharge!
Dance! I'll finish you here and now!
Take
this!
Lionheart!
Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
Together, that wasn't even a problem.
This looks nice and tough.
More Danny runes here too, I see.
What were people even thinking back then?
Hi, Hoodle!
To march on! There you go!
I never miss!
Lionheart! I'm on a roll now! Talon Hurricane!
I got it.
Almost! You're wide open!
Frozen!
Hammer!
Nicely done!
I'm on a roll now!
All thanks to you.
Thunder Force Seal!
On guard.
Light and
Tiger Blade!
Lionheart! Light!
I'll crush you! Lightning reflexes! Tenebrous claw!
Now that's a mystic art.
We should really use them more often.
That would be less mystic.
got?
This one's mine. I never miss. This one's mine. That's not on my watch.
Ignite!
Eat this. Radiant star.
Roll now.
Make it rain.
Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade! Grant me the strength to march on!
Fall into thy
What's it? Lionheart!
I'm even stronger than before.
I sure have built up a sweat with this hike.
Rest assured, we have reached the top. It's all downhill from here, quite literally.
So Mahag Sar's just up ahead then?
Indeed. If you look, across this mountain is the Lord's Keep.
Go no further!
Grant me the strength to
I
march
never
on!
miss. This one's mine.
Lionheart! Talon Hurricane!
Fall into thy own depth.
Too shiny to
Go.
Here!
Here.
No art of being interrupted! Elusive deity! Crumble! Hitting pile driver! Tornado drive! Elusive deity! I can carve through them! I'm just getting started!
On guard.
Raging flame! The everlasting dark!
Pierce through.
Negative gate! You're all! All finished here now! Grant me the... I'm ready! Commander of Heaven! Phoenix Cyclone!
This one's mine. My astral rage
Roll
again.
now! March on!
Breath. Dance in the wind. Air thrust. Light astral. Blah, blah, blah. Freeze blast.
Don't get complacent.
What's this place here? Some kind of old house?
I don't know about that. If I had to guess, it probably served as some kind of shrine.
So,
Coming through!
Eat this.
What a relief!
Mind if I do?
What's this?
Get here. Fall into thine own depth.
Penumbra! First!
Consecration. I
Grant
can
me
see
the
all
strength
day.
to march on! Look sharp! Lionheart!
Great Sion. Astral energy. Full throttle.
Grant me the strength to march on! A roll now! Anything in armor is all mine! Swallow dance! Death Blossom!
Dance in the wind.
Elusive deity!
Going in.
Hitting pile driver! Death Blossom! Tornado drive! Oh! Now I'm real mad! Elusive I'm ready!
Blah, blah, blah.
Now you see what I can do!
Going in.
Crossblade.
A comfortable win.
This will be a delicious piece of cake.
Hey! When did I get so popular? I really owe you one! I'll finish you here and now! There you go! Next one's all mine!
Here, let me go.
Unlock mine!
Confiscated.
Talon Hurricane!
Where that came from?
Raging Flame!
Now.
Going! Hey! Blow them away! How's that? Lionheart! Swallow dance! I'll finish you here and now! Talon Storm! Oh! Now I'm real mad!
This one's mine.
Talon Hurricane!
All healed.
In here.
This one's mine.
Talon Storm!
Handy.
Grant me the strength I'll finish you here and now! Lionheart!
Allow me to help you.
That was a walk in the park.
Those enemies were just up your alley.
Couple quick punches and boom, finished.
Well, it was more than a couple. Hey, are we gonna get going or what?
Seriously? Is this a joke? Take this! You're done! Talon Trigger Blade! Swallow this! Grind you into dust! Far enough! Tempest! Talon Hurricane! I'm just getting too shy to come over! Eat this! Here! Let me help!
Tempest!
This one's mine! Eat this! Elusive Deity! Tiger Blade! Hitting pile driver! Talon Hurricane!
Make it rain! Kisara! I'll stop your movement!
And I'll stop your life!
Good to know my training is paying off.
This will be a delicious piece of cake!
I'm surrounded! Go! I feel like me
Not on
again!
my watch!
Glimmer Dragon! That's it!
Fall into thy
Tiger
own
Blade!
way!
Eat this!
One more time!
Hitting pile Talon Hurricane! Watch this! Take this! Rip
Get
and
on
tear! I'm on a roll now! I'm gone! Blazing Blade!
Turn your heel!
Come and get it! I'll end
Where
you!
was that came from?
Pierce through! Blazing Blade!
Lancer! Get
Swallow
into the
dance!
Air thrust!
Can't get out of this! Swallow dance! Grant me the strength to march on! Too slow! Lion, here you go! I feel like me again!
Here goes!
Being interrupted in an instant! Impact block!
I think I'm getting stronger.
And thus our strength yet grows. Through these lands most verdant green, my eyes alight for sights unseen. In Menancia, pure and pristine.
What is it you see exactly?
That's not for me to say.
I forgot to look before I leaped.
This will be a delicious piece of cake! I never miss! I'm ready!
This one's mine! Lionheart!
Crescent move!
Armor won't save you!
Fall into thine own
Watch this! Death Buster! Got fired!
I've got this! Let a marksman answer!
All yours! I'll run you through! Pierce! Watch this! Pierce through!
Like a dance in the wind! Air thrust!
Swallow dance! Rip and tear! Good dog!
Tempest whirl! Lightning condemned! Thunder blade!
You shouldn't have messed with me!
Sweet dreams!
Grant me the strength to march on!
Lightning condemned!
Lionheart!
Thunder
I'm
blade!
on it! Talon Hurricane! Grant me the strength! Like we're gonna lose to Small Fry. I shall ensure you survive this.
Fire
I'll run you through! Here you go! Feel like
Don't
me
mind if I
again.
do. Switch to offense.
Anything in armor is all mine! Death Blossom!
Pesky airborne scoundrels.
Sounds like a job for your brilliant.
No further! What she said! Eyes on the prize!
That focus goes double for you, Law.
Me? How come I get
Leave
singled
the
out?
enemy's arc to me.
No complaints here! Watch it!
Now!
Kisara!
I'll stop your movement!
And I'll stop your life!
So I still had room to grow.
There!
Still thinking about how to act around Dohalim?
That obvious, huh? Except I don't think I'll be changing much after all. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to stay his servant. However, I am going to treat him like a fellow comrade, the same way I would with you or anyone else. For as long as I can remember, I've spent my life protecting others. But isn't that what friends do too? Support and protect one another in times of need?
Which in the end pretty much means doing as you've always done, right? If that's what you're most comfortable with, I'm certainly not going to give you any grief over it.
Actually, I've been thinking about how I ought to act around you all as well.
Oh?
When I set out on this journey, it was to rid Eldaman and Sia of its enemies, and search for wisdom in the outside world. Wisdom that I could potentially put to use on my return. I'm grateful to you all for letting me tag along, but it got me thinking, what am I actually contributing by being here?
What are you talking about? You know how to hold a weapon, don't you? That's help enough.
Is it though? Sometimes I wish there was more I could be doing to pull my...
Oops! Sorry about that. Jeez, I'm famished.
Now that you mention it, what do you guys normally do for food and meals when you're out and about on your travels?
What do you mean, what do we do? We find stuff to eat and eat it. So long as it's meat, I'm not fussy.
Eating what you like can be good for morale in the short term, but you need to think about your diet if you want to stay healthy.
Does that mean eating vegetables too?
Isn't that obvious?
It does, which I guess hasn't been happening up till now.
Yeah, to be honest, we could be eating better than we do.
Understood. In that case, I'll just have to make sure you're all staying healthy and eating right myself. Fortunately, I happen to know a thing or two about cooking as well.
You hear that, Law? Sounds like you'll be eating your greens after all.
What is it?
No, sorry, it's just... I was just wondering if you had any thoughts on all this.
It will do her good to have a project.
No, not Kisara. I meant you. Was there anything you wanted to add?
Me? Certainly you're not looking to me for culinary skill, I hope.
Typical Renan, leaving everything to someone else.
Rinwell, I don't think...
That said, should you need my skills on the battlefield, please rest assured I have no intention of shirking my responsibilities, regardless of who we may face.
I'm sure no one doubts that. Listen, guys, if we're traveling together, we should probably at least try to make an effort to get to know one another, don't you think?
I wouldn't get your expectations too high in that regard. Believe it or not, sometimes I'm not sure I even know myself all that well.
Something wrong? You look like you're deep in thought.
Not exactly. I was merely thinking about you two and your sense of etiquette.
Oh?
Etiquette?
Indeed. To be quite frank, I find your lack of manners to be nigh intolerable.
That's not being frank, that's being an... Forget it. Do we really need to talk about this now?
Yes, I find such impropriety on your parts to be deeply unsettling. It concerns me greatly.
What do you want us to do? We were slaves. We never got to learn how to be proper like you.
Yeah, what he said. Maybe you missed how we were just focused on surviving.
Perhaps, but Kisara here demonstrates that it's quite possible for a Denon to learn proper manners.
That's because I was given the opportunity to learn. Moreover, my duties as a guardsman required it. Not every realm is like Menancia, as you well know.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair to hold us to some other city standards.
Exactly. You've got to remember what it's been like for us living under the Rena elsewhere.
I will concede that you do indeed make a valid point. It would appear, for all my espousing the virtues of equality between our peoples, I was still looking down on the two of you.
You don't need to beat yourself up. I wasn't that offended by what you said, man.
Nevertheless, I shall mind my words from here on out. Having said that, I do believe you two would still benefit from learning the basics of proper society. I would be more than happy to teach you both when we camp out, if you like.
Yeah, no, I'll pass. Acting all prim and proper isn't really my style.
If you say so. How about you, Law? Would you like to learn? Although I suppose my first task is to reform your attitude toward the idea of good etiquette.
You're not gonna let this go, are you?
Hey, let's stop for a minute.
What's up? You already tired?
My armor's pretty heavy. I think I need a little rest.
I second that. All of this walking is starting to take its toll on me as well.
What? You don't look it.
We can't spare the time. There's places we need to be. Mahag Saar's capital, Niez, is our destination right now.
But if one of us collapses, it will only serve to slow us down. And in your case, Alphen is the only one who could carry you. Best to rest while you have the opportunity.
Enough already! I need a break, so we're taking one.
I don't need you fretting over me.
Fretting? Hey, it's not like I'm...
Been looking for you.
For me? Why?
He's tough.
Who are you? You said you were looking for me. Why?
Beautiful, precious life.
What the...
That is all I desire.
Then why are we fighting? Who even are you?
First strike!
Take this!
Shield and mace!
Fall into thine own death!
Good shot! Who the hell are you? Bastard!
This guy's not normal.
Speed is unbelievable.
You mean he even surpasses a lord?
Raging cascade!
Take this!
Begin!
Raging flame!
Their arts were interrupted.
Raging flame!
Here's your Raging flame!
Oh,
Now I'm real mad! Now you see what I can do!
Wind astral energy dance in the wind!
Take this!
Air
I'm
thrust!
on a roll now!
Those left turn to the left, lop,
I'll crush you! Lightning reflexes! Tenebrous claw!
now
I'm on it! Talon sword! Take this! It was nice while it lasted. Resonate with the earth! Stalagmite! Onward! Let me out!
Is that all that you've got? Very well. Then die. A wretch like you? Till next time.
Shion, wake up, please!
Alphen?
Shion!
Thanks, but you're kinda crushing me.
Sorry.
It's okay. And so am I. It's not as bad as it looks.
Not bad. That's... Shion, we thought
I'm
you were...
fine. Really.
What the hell were you thinking?
Well, you were trying to protect me too, you know.
Yeah, but I have the sword. It's different.
It's not different. Besides,
Hmm?
Never mind. It's nothing. Anyway, thank you.
But I didn't... Look, I'm just glad that you're...
Alphen?
Sorry.
That guy said he'd be back. I think maybe we should get moving before he returns, right?
Rinwell has a good point. We need to go. Shion, are you sure you're okay?
Shion, are you sure you're okay?
Yeah, I already applied some healing arts to it. It didn't even leave a scar.
But his sword went nearly straight through you.
I'm all right. Unless I've turned into some kind of ghost and I'm haunting you all right now.
No, I know you're not. It's just...
Look, I appreciate you looking out for me, but I'm fine. Really.
There was also that strange light that appeared when Shion was stabbed. It seemed to make the enemy retreat when he saw it. Alphen, do you have any idea what it might have been?
A light? I don't know. I was kind of preoccupied with other things at the time.
Now that I think of it, between that light and the blazing sword, just what sort of person are you, Alphen? Can you use Dahnan astral arts like Rinwell, perhaps?
He wouldn't know, Dohalim. He doesn't have any memories from his past, remember? Besides, we should really be getting out of here.
I suppose you're right. Forgive me. We've almost reached Niez, the capital of Mahag Saar. With any luck, we'll find a place there for Shion to rest. Hey.
How are you holding up after that last fight? You're not too hurt, are you?
I'm fine, really. See for yourself.
If things get too tough out there, go ahead and fall back. I can take a beating if I need to.
I'm not here just to stand around and have everyone protect me.
I get that, but there's nothing wrong with admitting you have weaknesses too.
Do I look like I'm just trying to put on a brave face to you?
I can't feel pain. But you still can, can't you?
Look, I appreciate you're trying to look out for me, but even you go down in fights from time to time. Please, stop trying to babysit me. It's getting old.
It's not that. I just...
Well, wow, what a cutscene. Holy crap, okay. Where is... in this direction, I'm wondering.
We've reached our destination.
What's that big tower over there?
Judging by the stench, I'd say the animals at the ranch are all grown now.
Wait, what? They eat horse? Let's see this for myself.
Have you guys... checked your equipment lately? just love this. Sound of hammers banging away.
Made it through another day.
Dohalim, your spare bracers were getting dirty, so I polished them up along with the rest of your equipment.
Why, thank you, Kisara. I greatly appreciate that.
Maybe it's just my imagination, but you sure seem to fuss over Dohalim a whole lot, Kisara.
It is a little strange. Almost like you're still in his service.
Really? That's certainly not my intention. Besides, he's not the only one I'm like that with. Hey, Law, I saw your clothes were starting to get holes in them, so I stitched them back up for you.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Kisara.
Point taken. Do you just like looking after people?
I wouldn't go so far as to say I like it, but I get anxious if I don't. I'd always like to help if I can. It comes naturally to me. Back in the day, Miguel and I used to look after the younger kids a lot, so that's probably where it comes from. He taught me everything I know, and I mean everything. How to cook with wild plants, how to sew clothes so they'll last. Without him, we never would have been able to survive.
However, you're not a lord anymore, Dohalim. You need to get used to the idea that people aren't just going to wait on you hand and foot.
Yes, you're absolutely right. I'm ashamed to admit that I felt no qualms about her doing all that for me. As both a Renan and especially as a lord, one becomes too accustomed to those beneath you tending to your every need, both Renans and Dahnans alike.
Sure, that's how all you Renans are probably raised. But just to be clear, we're not your servants, Dohalim. Got that?
Absolutely. Moments such as this provide me with ample opportunity to confront my unease. It is difficult to tend with my own motivations.
What do you mean?
The truth of the matter is that my espousal of coexistence in Menancia hardly came from an idealistic place. That instinctive unease I feel deep within serves as a reminder for what it is that all of us here fight for.
Don't be so hard on yourself. No one's going to abandon you if you aren't always perfect.
Looking at her now, I think she's more like his mom than his servant.
This shall suffice. Please, everyone, have as much as you like.
Kisara, let's talk for a bit. Maintaining your shield? It's becoming a familiar sight.
Miguel was the one who taught me how to maintain my equipment after I first joined the Guard. Now, it's just a part of my routine.
Your brother always seems to come up whenever I talk to you.
That's because we had no other relatives. So it was just the two of us growing up. He was my idol. The one I looked up to and wanted to be like. When I became a guardsman, Lagiel wasn't too pleased to see me at first. It was Miguel who really welcomed me aboard.
Lagiel? Oh, right. She was Miguel's second in the Gold Dust Cats, wasn't she?
That's right. She's always been a very critical and down-to-earth person. In other words, the complete opposite of a dreamer like me.
You're more an idealist than some pie-in-the-sky dreamer.
Even so, that's my brother's doing. He'd never let me stop seeing a brighter world. He always did what he could to keep me smiling and happy.
You must have meant a lot to him.
He wasn't just kind either. He always worked so hard to set an example for me and everyone else around him. He was a true big brother. So much so that when he thought I was asleep, he'd slip out of the house to go training on the outskirts of town.
You seem to know a lot about it.
That's because I only pretended to be asleep and would follow after him.
You
know what? I'm at a good stopping point with my shield. If you've got time, how about I tell you a couple more Miguel stories?
I guess I'd better get comfortable.
See you tomorrow. You guys have everything?
Alright, and that's it for the day. Or maybe, yeah, it depends how it goes.